There was a student-inspired and a student-led march around the city, starting from some of the universities on the western side of the city, I think Beijing Normal University and Beida. After having lived in China for 3 years, I found it remarkable that people would feel free enough to demonstrate and to protest. I just found it an interesting historical event that was unfolding around me, and I really did kind of feel the importance of what I was witnessing, and I just wanted to document that.
Oh, they're getting through! It is 5:16.
And I went almost every day. I felt compelled to go. It just drew me. It was very exciting. I felt as excited maybe as a lot of the people in Beijing, because I could feel the possibility that maybe things were changing and that this would be such a good thing for the country. I was surprised by how orderly everything was. The demonstrations were always purpose-driven. This wasn't a big party. This was something that they were very serious about. And there wasn't ever a feeling of danger. I never felt afraid at all being with the masses. It was a very dignified movement. They were dedicated. They wanted to be good citizens of China. They weren't interested in overthrowing the government and creating a problem. They wanted to help the country to progress and to move on, and to become a country that was for its people. I really think that they felt that there was a great deal of corruption in the government, and that they wanted to see that changed. And they wanted to see a freer press. They wanted to have more freedom to be able to speak their minds. When I was taking photographs and filming, I always felt the need to hold back and not to get too close. I felt that this was their protest and this was their demonstration, and I was very much a looker on. I was very much not to be in there doing it with them.
They're going to take away another one of the students right now.
Hunger strike, I believe, my memory is that they started sitting on the north side of the Great Hall of the People, and then they eventually moved into the square itself, close to the monument to the people's heroes. I think that was maybe 2-3 days into the hunger strike. They put up some tents to shelter the hunger strikers from the sun and also to allow them to lie down. They brought in bedding. They were actually being seen to with IV drips. Prior to that, people who fainted or whatever were just whisked off in ambulances. The wail of sirens was just ever present.
Here's one of the hunger strike students.
It was one way that they felt that maybe they could influence the government to meet with them and to have a dialogue. They wanted to be able to discuss their ideas for some changes that they felt were important for the nation. It became more and more crowded, and the heat, it was many times in the upper 80s and 90s. It was very hot, and nobody complained, and nobody really was sloppy in their appearance. It was amazing, really. To me, the people of Beijing were exemplary in how they handled themselves. We were told that the crime rate diminished during this time. I know that the streets were very often controlled by citizens who just decided, the police just seemed to melt away after a while. There weren't, the police presence on the street just disappeared, but it didn't seem to affect the civil order. People took it upon themselves to be well behaved, and everybody seemed to be kinder to each other, actually. They seemed to be more respectful of each other. Well, I think they also felt that the students were their children, whether or not they were. They felt that they were their pride and joy. These were students who were educated, young people who were educated, and they're the future of the country. And so I think they felt a little protective of them as well. It's very emotional to take a look at these photos because, a photograph brings back your memory, and it brings back the emotions associated with that memory. And looking at these faces and the young people and the citizens of Beijing who became so involved in this protest. I have a couple of those taken at the Goddess of Democracy, and they were so filled with pride. You could see it in their faces. They were just so proud of being there. They were defying martial law. Martial law was a failure. They were there with their children, and they were just, their faces, you could see the pride in their faces. Just forever touched my life, and I know that their lives were deeply touched. And for many of them, never to be the same again. Oh yes, I think that if the government had waited another week, I think that it would have been over. I think people get tired after a point. This was a month and a half of really a lot of activity, and things weren't successful. And I think maybe they would have it would have died down. I watched this actually from an apartment building in Jiangguomenwai. I watched it from the 13th floor, I believe it was. I watched the convoys coming in off of the Second Ring Road, and they were coming into the square, and the crowds came out to stop them, and they did stop them. The people in the neighborhoods. There were men, women, children, old people, young people, babies, pregnant women. Everybody came out to talk to the soldiers, to convince them that, we're one of you, you're one of us, don't do anything to harm us. Why would you want to do anything like that? And I don't think they thought they would be attacked. I think they were totally surprised when all of a sudden orders were given to shoot to kill. This was a shock, and it's really a very unfortunate thing that this happened. This was a remarkable experience in my life to see how much hope a group of people, a country, had for its future. It was started by students, and it was supported by the masses. It was supported by workers of all kinds. It was a general demonstration by the masses for the masses. They wanted to see things better for themselves and for their children, and they thought it could happen. They really thought it could happen. But that was not for this time in history, maybe later.